beautiful people. You can make noise, yeah. Oh, yeah. I just want to let you know this is live for a reason. You're all involved in this conversation, so we want to hear you nice and loud and clear. So let's practice one more time. Hello, beautiful people. That's the way we like it. And you guys can make noise throughout the whole thing. Like, just don't have your phones ringing. Maybe we silence those. But I'm Deja Riley. I think I know most of you in this room, and the ones that I don't know, I look forward to meeting after this. I've met some beautiful humans this evening. Yelena brought me flowers. She's a new friend of mine now. I just met her tonight. Honestly, it really just warmed my heart and like took some of the nerves away, so thank you for that. Welcome to Dose of Duality Live. Honestly, this is only my second episode, and so, you know, we're just rolling the dice and going with it. I feel so good to be here. It's interesting that we're talking about love tonight, and I feel so much of the love already just radiating through the room. I see friends new and old. Talked about my new friend, Yelena. But I also have friends from high school and middle school here. Stand up, stand up. My greatest love of all time is in the room, my husband, Jimmy. A lot of you already know him from social media, but he's here in the flesh tonight, and we're so happy that he's here. And then just my amazing teammates, my friends, my family, like, thank you so much for being here. I honestly just, I feel the love. I feel held in this moment, so thank you. So this is Dose of Duality. It's the podcast where we dive into deep conversation, cultivating a sense of community around the state of coexistence. And tonight we're going to talk about love, healing, and all things in between. Love is complex, but it doesn't have to be complicated. And you all are living proof that it doesn't have to be. You guys are here because you love someone in this room, and I hope it's me. But I really do appreciate you all for being here, and we've got two very, very special guests, two beacons of love and light in the building tonight, Pilin Anice and Joél Leon. And they are going to be my special guests of the evening. I'm just, this moment is so invigorating, so exhilarating. I'm just taking it all in. So I'll just take a moment to just look around the room for a moment. This is like a really good looking room, honestly. Before I bring Pilin up to the stage for a mindful moment, I just want to say that I love you guys. I really, really do. And this would not be possible if you all weren't in this room with me tonight. So let's just get it started. Let's get it popping. Let's laugh, let's cry, let's clap, let's do all the things. Let's make all the noise. Pilin. So many of you may know her as one of my fellow Lululemon studio trainers and Lululemon ambassador. She is also a Howard soror. I don't know if there's any Howard. Okay. Stand up. She is an amazing yogi. She is an actress, a model, a beautiful artist, but most of all, she is a ray of sunshine. She is a bright ball of light, just like radiating in this world, and I'm so blessed to be able to call her my dear friend. So without further ado, let's make some noise for Pilin Anice! I'm gonna turn towards you. Hey babe, how are you?
Hey.
How are you feeling?
I'm well.
Yeah?
I'm doing very well.
Good. I'm so happy to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
Honestly, this is a beautiful moment, and thank you for just being here and being in this with me, and then also just like keeping me calm up top and just telling me to take a couple deep breaths, and I just like got to touch myself, tell myself I'm safe, and that felt really good. So it's a great way to start. Peace. So tonight we're talking a lot about love and healing. And I know that for me now, and also has been for you for a very long time, meditation has supported your love and healing practice. And so I just want to know a little bit more about how meditation does that.
How meditation supports love
and healing. Yes.
Okay. So meditation coming to sit is a brave act. It's an act of love, just coming to sit with yourself, because what it is to actually come and just be with your breath, to witness whatever it is that's coming up for you, to be with the multitudes of your being, the duality that exists within all of us. It takes a lot of bravery, and it requires courage. And I think that the root of the word courage, the Latin root, is actually love's heart. And so it's actually coming to be with yourself, being with your breath. And when we come to ourselves, then we heighten our awareness of what's real and what's true. And awareness is the first step to healing.
Yeah.
And so it's a magical practice, and it's been one that supported me many years now, and it's always a gift to share it.
Yeah, I love that. Well, you are going to share it with all of us tonight, and we are so excited to kick this entire night off with a beautiful meditation by you. So I'm going to let you take it away.
Awesome. So, friends, wherever you are in space in this moment, I invite you to maybe plant both feet on the earth if you can. Maybe come towards the edge of the chair so that your spinal column is long. And as you arrive, you might take a deep breath in through the nose and maybe let the shoulders just elevate towards the ears. And then as you exhale, release the shoulders down. Let's take that 2 more times at your own pace, and inhale to allow the shoulders to rise. And then as you exhale, let those shoulders drift down and feel the softness across the heart center. 1 more time. Inhaling through the nose, invite the breath to go deep through the soles of the feet, up through the crown, and then exhale, release. Maybe the eye gaze softens or closes completely, wherever you're comfortable. But in this moment, I invite you to go within, allowing the rhythm of the breath to flow in and out through the nose. For just in this moment, can you begin to befriend your breath? Simply bearing witness to the inhale and the exhale. To know the breath is to know life. To know ourselves in an intimate, deep way. So as you feel this sacred pulse, this sacred rhythm, notice if you can invite your breath to be a bit deeper and wider. So in that next breath in, allow your inhale to expand into the lowest parts of your belly. Feel it expand through the rib cage and up through the heart center. And then exhale, simply release, emptying completely. And continue. Breathing in fully, allowing the breath to expand through the entire center of the body. And then exhale, letting go. And as you witness the rhythms of your breath, notice in the stillness what is revealed. What qualities are presenting themselves in the physical body, be in the mental body, and the emotional body. And as you witness what's present, can you do so from a lens of love and deep compassion? This compassion for being right where you are in this very moment. And there's always a wide spectrum of possibilities that we can experience one moment to the next. So in this moment, you might notice energy that's not just present with the breath, but also that's present in the mind. Where are your thoughts? As we come to sit with our breath, the mind is often very active. That's its job, is to think. But when we harness our attention and bring it to the breath, we invite ourselves to rest here in the present moment, to become aware of what is present in the moment. So just bear witness for a few more rounds of breath. There's nothing to do. You can't do it wrong or right. Just simply be. The breath still deep and expansive. Each breath attuning your awareness to this very moment. Feet on the earth, the spine long, the heart open. And allow your awareness to drop down towards your heart center. So maybe traveling from the closed eyes, letting your awareness drop deep in towards the center of the heart. The center of the heart that has the highest electromagnetic vibration of any organ in the body. So as your breath flows in and out, imagine this field from your heart center expanding and widening with each cycle of breath. Each breath harmonizing your energy. Take a few more rounds of breath here. Breathing from the center of the heart. The vibration of love radiating through every cell in your body. And the next 3 breaths that you take, can you allow them to be the fullest, deepest breath that you've taken yet? Smoothing out your inhale, softening with your exhale. 2 more, breathing in fully. Welcoming the fullness of yourself to this moment. Feeling the gentle hum, the subtle vibration of love, of compassion that you've cultivated just by bearing witness, just by connecting intentionally to your breath. And I invite you here, as your breath maybe returns to its natural cadence, just notice the imprint of this brief moment of being with your breath, of attuning to the rhythms of your heart. The ancient one said that the heartbeat of the universe vibrates in the hearts of every being present on this earth. So as we attune to our hearts, we attune to the hearts of every being present. Expanding the field of love beyond our bodies into bodies throughout the space and throughout the world. Take a deep inhale. And as you exhale, let the breath escape with a gentle sigh. And if you'd like to bring the hands together and just gently rub the palms, generating just a little heat and warmth. Maybe even imagining that between the palms you are creating this fusion of love. And then pause for a moment and ask yourself, where can I receive love in this moment? Where does my body need this warmth, this touch? Those hands might come to the heart, to the belly, to the shoulders. Let those hands come to rest wherever you're intuitively guided to place them. And as they arrive, just be there for a moment. Feel this energy of love directing it straight to yourself, knowing that this relationship of love starts with yourself We'll just savor this moment for another few rounds of breath. And the great ancestor Bell Hooks said that the ingredients to love, or the combination that we need for love, is respect, care, commitment, knowledge, trust. Can you feel this sense of care in this moment for yourself? The sense of trusting all that you are, this respect that you hold for all that you are. And this inner knowledge, this inner wisdom that's always active and alive within, that if we can be still, if we connect to our breath, we can access at any moment in time. Let's take one more round of breath together. And then exhale, let it go. And slowly, as you're ready, you can start to bring movement back into the body. Float the eyes open, remembering that the love we desire is always within us. We say ashe to that. Thank you.
Oh, Pilin, thank you. It was so beautiful. Yes, we can get some snaps in for that. That felt good. Pilin, you touched on something that I just wanted to close with as we end this portion of the podcast. But you talked about bell hooks, and last year I read All About Love for the first time. I think I shared that with you. And she talks about like self-love being that foundational love, right? And I loved that you just touched on at any given moment we can come back to the breath and access that self-love, and it's so beautiful. And I just wanted to ask you, like, when you think of love in this expansive way, what comes up for you? Who do you think of? How does it feel?
When I think of love, I think of what I'm feeling right now.
Yeah.
Which is just this, something I believe is inherent within us all, like joy. It's something that lives and dwells in the center of our being. And it's just showing up, it's community, it's witnessing each other, seeing each other fully, receiving every single person with just a sense of gratitude and appreciation for all that we are and all that we are becoming and unfolding one moment to the next.
Yes.
And there's so much love. I think I'm a mom of two kids, and there's so much that I'm learning about love through them. They're really my great teachers. Yeah. And that's all I got.
I love it. That was more than enough. I loved it. And Pilin, I love you so much.
I love you too.
That's all I want to say. Thank you so much. We're all sending love to you. And as we continue to flow through this conversation and allow love to take up space in the room, I just want, for a moment, for us to be in community. So, turn to the person next to you, whether you know them or not, say hi. Say something. We're just going to take a little break to just be with each other. Oh, that was nice. It just kind of simmered on its own. All right, beautiful humans. So, we're going to get back to the conversation. I'm going to make myself really comfortable up here because, my brother's coming to the stage. I'm gonna get all cozy on the couch. We're gonna have an amazing conversation tonight that we want you all to be involved in. But before I bring the next guest up for the remainder of the conversation, I just wanna talk to all of you. I wanna find out what love means to you as we open up this conversation. And you guys can just yell out words to me. I'll say it loud on the microphone. But when I say the word love, what comes up for you? How does that make you feel? Acceptance. Yes, acceptance. I love that. Support. Say it again. Support. Yes. Someone else said something else. Joy. Safe. Joy. Yes. No judgment. Yes. Empowered. Yes. Groundable. Yes. Wait. Connections. Groundable. Yes. Is that what we said? Safe. Yep. We're definitely safe. What reciprocation? Yes. Accountability. I'm loving it. We're just, transparent. All the things. Well, for me, I will definitely say that all of those things resonate, and I think there's so many things that I can say about love. There are so many teachers of love in the room for me right now, and I just can't wait to get to the conversation. So we're just going to go right into it. This next bold, bright, beautiful soul, who you were just listening to one of his pieces, by the way. If you did not download, the kids are listening, Cry Wolf. It's his third album, and it's amazing. Okay, so this next bright, beautiful soul that I am grateful to be able to call my brother. He is a sensational storyteller. He is an artistic genius. He is Bronx bred. And he's the creative director at the New York Times. I mean, we're all gonna give it up for that. Yeah. Though we are not defined by our accomplishments, that is amazing, and I admire you so much. But, you know, I'm just gonna let him tell you exactly who he is. Joél Leon, will you join me? Yes, just the way. we were taking photos earlier, and Joél told me he feels really awkward taking photos.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that honestly was like a really great awkward moment. I love that. Actually, it makes me feel safe and secure when people can also be awkward, because I'm awkward too.
I'm a black hood nerd from the Bronx, so you know, it's how I show up.
And we love you for it.
It's like part hood, part Urkel. It's like the
yes,
Dose of Duality.
Yes.
That's what we're doing.
But Joe, I got up here and I said everything that the world knows you as, but I'm not big on telling somebody what their identity is. So I'm gonna let you take the mic and tell everybody who you are.
Before I do that, can I tell you how much I love you?
I love you too.
And how proud I am of you for this moment. This is big.
Thank you.
Like, you know, yeah, you did this.
Thank you so much.
I am a storyteller. I'm a storyteller from the Bronx, born to Linda T. and Charles Lorenzo. Charles Lorenzo, God bless the dead. Pensacola, Florida, born and raised. My mother born in Dominica, very small island in the Caribbean. For those who don't know, you should go and visit. But not too many people visit because we're trying to keep our resources, you know. But you know, grew up on hip hop. And found a way to make a way, I think, with not much, but like a want to change the world, and utilizing my art as the catalyst for that. And so wanting, like, a big part of that is meeting you, right? Like when I think about community and, like, you know, we talk about alignment, right? And so just trying to make art that is aligned with my purpose, you know?
You're doing that without a doubt.
Thank you.
And I admire that. And I love you too, by the way. I think I said that, but I will say it again, because like we can never give each other enough love.
No,
you know,
it's not
just
true.
keep pouring it out.
Yeah,
right?
It's like a vessel, you know, and if it overflows, and you just get a new vessel.
Yeah, I love that. I love that.
Or don't, just let it flow and just like let it get messy. Love is messy.
It is, right? I mean, we're starting to like pull out these adjectives and things that describe love for each of us. So like, let's start there, right? When we talk about love, like for me, I think about it, especially in the chapter that I'm in, the season that I'm in. Love is fragile.
Can we talk more about that? Like, what is that?
Yeah, let's dive into that. Let's get into that. I wasn't fully prepared to talk about it, but it's organic, you know?
Listen, you brought it. I mean, we can go as deep as you want. We're doing this together.
Yeah.
So like, if it gets uncomfortable, then we get out the water.
Will you hold my hand?
Yeah, of course. That's what love is, right? Yeah.
Thank you.
I got you.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So here we are. So I was supposed to be doing this podcast with my best friend, and wow, this is the first time that I'm telling this story publicly. So I'm gonna take my time with it.
No rush.
So Jen and I were friends, best friends, sisters for over 15 years. One of the most beautiful journeys, adventures that I've ever been on in my entire life. And I truly believe that in this lifetime, she was one of my soulmates, you know? I love my husband. He's one of my soulmates too. But it's funny because Jen and I used to joke, and I would say, like, you just have to let your now husband know that you were already married once. It was to me.
It's fair.
I said it in her wedding speech too. But yeah, so we started this journey. We started a podcast last year called Do Everything with Love. And it was really powerful. It was really impactful. It was something that we both started as a passion project together. And I never saw it going the way that it did, but then life happens, right? And at the top of this year, which I know some of you also like follow me, and so you've seen a little bit of what I've shared, but at the top of this year, we kind of like hit this fork in the road where life happened.
Right.
And she shared something with me that she has not yet shared with the world, so I will not share that on her behalf. But it caused a little bit of tension in our relationship. It made us have to have some of the toughest conversations that we've ever had together. It made us have to navigate this new space with love, honestly. And it was really scary. It was hard. And when you love someone deeply, you know, I think you have, you do your best to handle situations, especially tough situations, with care. And you have a lot of compassion when in being in the thick of it, right? And honestly, simultaneously, I've been on this vulnerability journey and sharing so much of my fertility journey and what's going on with me internally and what's happening to me physically. And, you know, I was in a space where I was like, the best thing I can do is be honest with her. The best thing I can do is share this coexistence of emotions that's happening inside of me and be as raw and as real as I could possibly be. And that was terrifying. I find it actually a lot easier to do that on a platform, on a social media platform, right? When I'm just sharing openly, I don't know who's gonna see it. In fact, when I post it, I'm not looking into the eyes of anybody else. But when I was staring into the eyes of someone I consider to be my soulmate, my sister, and really feeling everything that she was feeling and everything that I'm also feeling, and that coexistence in that space, it really just, it ripped me from the inside out. It like was something that was transformational, where I'm still feeling that transformation. I'm still sitting with all of those emotions. And ultimately it led me here in a place of not solitude because I'm in community, right? But like, I expected to be holding her hand and sitting next to her in this moment. And for many reasons, that is not the way that it ended up, you know? And so I started this new podcast, Dose of Duality, with that in mind, with that in my heart. And it's part of the reason why I came up with the concept of this, is because so many different emotions were existing all at once. And none of us are just one quality, right? I hear this phrase like one trick pony. I don't think it exists, but like, they say that sometimes when someone has like one major talent that stands out, right? And none of us are that, right? As humans, we are complex, we are colorful, we do not live in black and white. We are not just one thing clear across the board. And that is why I think these conversations are necessary, and love is at the center of all that. I think like that's like one of the number one topics. So I was like, we got to start with love, right?
For sure.
But even with our podcast, it's Do Everything with Love. We started with the intention of love, and I think we want to continue with that intention of love. And sometimes that love has to be from a distance. And that's where we're at now. I mean, like, honestly, it's a really tricky thing for me to talk about because I'm still processing all of my emotions. And I also don't want to speak on her behalf. I can only tell my story. But yeah, that's a little bit of where I'm at and how I ended up starting this podcast on my own. And now I'm here with you.
You know, you said the word journey a few times, and I think about like, so like even me getting here, right? Like a number of different things could have happened while I was on the C train, which did. Like, there was like a delay on the train. Like, there's things like I can't control, right, in that narrative. It's a journey, right? And like, I think when we're thinking about love through the lens of it being a journey, right, we're going to encounter detours, right?
Yeah.
And I also don't think the detours change the intention of the journey, right? My goal was to get here, right? And so like, if we're talking about everything being done with love, I think the journey, whether that journey is taking a detour, whether that is the end of the chapter of this journey, and there might be another journey that you two might go on. I mean, you're journeying right now, even though you're not together in the physical sense, right? And I think the way that you're holding space for that is important, especially with the separate journey that's going on with like IVF and like that's a whole nother like space that you're having to hold room for here, you know? And so I think, and you and I have talked about this, like I think my role as your friend is to remind you to offer yourself grace, right? Because I think when I think about love and I think about the fragility of love, I think also about the grace that we tend to not give ourselves, but we give to others, right? And when we think about duality, the fact that two things can be right at the same time, and I think about the plurality in that, right? Multiple things get to be true at the same time. Where I can love a person, we can be disagreeing about a thing, I can still love them. I might even think that they're wrong. They might think that I'm wrong. And so the middle ground of that is the nuance, right? Because I think you're also talking about nuance. And I think love, for me, when I think about love, I think of nuance. Because love is multifaceted and, you know, there's context and a lot of context, especially now in this world of social media that we live in, where so much of conversations get lost because we don't have context, because we're not privy to the moment that we're walking into prior to the thing that we're seeing. And so we make judgments and assessments. Like, if I didn't know you and I didn't know Jen, and I got Jen's side of the story and I got your side of the story, probably two different stories. And my job as a person who is trying to practice grace across multiple intersections is recognizing there's room for stories to be true across the board and across the spectrum. And it doesn't change the love that gets offered in that space. And that's the nuance of it.
Yeah.
You know?
I love that you said that. And also, like, as my friend, I appreciate you offering me that grace. And I truly knew in this moment that I was surrounded by love, because as I began to open up to my different friends or family members about how I was feeling and the pain that I might have been feeling as a result of what happened in this particular situation, both of the sides could be seen. Like, not that the person or the people were coming from like a neutral space, but more so a loving space.
Right.
And being able to hold space for both me and someone they might not even know, or for both of us if they know both of us, you know? I think that's a beautiful thing too, is like this idea that, like, you know, I said this to one of my friends, and now the idea is like coming up into my mind and I want to hit it, but I was saying to them that when I was in my 20s, I had those friends that would be like, yeah, girl, and that was messed up, and she shouldn't have did that, and like, you know? Then I find myself in this space, and I know that I'm surrounded by love because the way that my friends respond to what I'm telling them is not aggressive. It's not attacking her. It's this idea to acknowledge that, like, both of you weren't wrong. You're both just human. You know what I mean? And both of you, like, came at it with the most loving approach that you could, right? And I think that it's beautiful that, like, anybody that I've shared space with as I've been going through that going through this has held me in that way. You know, like, that for me has been the most beautiful part of it. And that is the kind of friendship that I want to continue to attract. You know, and like so many times I think that we often think of love being so romantic, right? When people say love, I mean, honestly, I also think of, you know, Alfalfa singing to Darla, L-O-V-E. Do we not all think that? I mean,
that is part.
So perfect. And that is a beautiful love too, but I think I want to dive deeper into that friendship love, that even that community love, that agape love, right? What comes up for you when I dig into that or reach for that?
I think that's my favorite kind of love.
Yeah, mine too.
And I think because what we tend to do in romantic partnerships is we quarter our love, right? Like, this love is different because this is my person. And not to say that it's not, right? I think there's a way, and a lot of that comes with the need and want to be wanted and needed by somebody else. This notion that there's this one person in the world who could potentially satisfy the things that I've wanted and needed and desire. And so I'm finding that through this person, which makes me somewhat uncomfortable. Because when I think about soulmates, I think about this notion that there's opportunity for other loves to coexist within each other.
Yeah.
And love is limitless. And so I think what we tend to do is limit the propensity of love. And whether or not you believe in God, like, you don't have to. But I think if we're talking about God as an energy and not as a person or as a spirit, then I think what we also have to recognize is that God is also too limitless. And if God is love and and God is limitless, why are we limiting how love gets to show up in our lives? Right? I think our partnerships get to be romantic. I think our friendships get to be romantic as fuck. Because I think what we think about romance, we think about flowers, we think about candy, we think about, you know what I'm saying, Lorenz Tate, you know what I'm saying, in the rain on a motorcycle. You know what I'm saying? Keep in mind, Lorenz stalked Nia Long to get her number, just to be clear.
But we don't talk about that, right? We don't talk about that, though, right?
Wilding. My brother went, he was like, yo, I'm gonna get her number anyway, get her address, and just show up. If a brother did that right now, unless it was Jonathan Majors, y'all would be like, stop.
Or Michael B. Jordan.
Or Michael B. Jordan. Y'all would be like, yeah, steal my address. Unsolicited. You know, but I think we think about romance in that way, and we don't think about, oh, like, me and my homegirls went and had a picnic, and like my best friend braids my hair, and like there's intimacy in that. And what I don't want us to do is lose how intimacy gets to play a part in our lives that is not solely dependent on the intimacy we're getting from our partners. Yeah. And so I think this intimacy, this is an intimate space. And you know what I'm most interested in is etymology, you know, like the use of language and also how I think we as Black folks have remixed language. Your father knows that better than a lot of other people. Like, how we've taken a thing that's been given to us and said, all right, nah, fuck that, we're gonna make it our own. Yeah. And so when I think about romance, when I think about intimacy, I think about the pure definitions of those words and how so often we lose those definitions in order to compromise whatever we think what love is supposed to look like. Yeah. And again, like I'm trying to deal in limitless, you know, in that space. And so that means I have to be curious about what love gets to look like and feel like, and not just about my partner, but my friends, my colleagues. Yeah. Because I think we talk about love and we kind of keep work exempt, you know, like, and I think that was part of this conversation, like Alicia and I were having last week. The idea that like we get to reframe how love gets to show up in our lives, and it doesn't just have to be in partnership. It's like the spirit does not understand compartmentalization. I can't say love is here, but love is not here. Spirit is not cognizant of that. Yeah. The heart and mind is not cognizant of that. And I think what I want us to start doing too is stop. Like in Buddhism, it's heart mind because the heart and the mind are connected. So when we go like, oh, I'm thinking logically, like, all right, cool, but your heart is still a part of that conversation. It gets to be, which is why love is so important, because love doesn't understand that dynamic. But we keep trying to put it in this thing. Yeah. Love is like, I don't know. I don't do boxes. Yeah. Why do you keep trying to put me here? Like, I'm here, you know?
Well, I think like it's natural for us to compartmentalize so many things in life, right? Absolutely. Because we need that clarity as humans.
Absolutely.
So we go like, okay, well, this looks like this, and this is what this is going to be for me, and I can put this over here. And then this looks like this, and we tie a pretty bow on it, right? It gives us that structure that we need. It allows us to move the way that we need to in between the lines. Yeah. And I love what you said about love in the workplace, because I think like that for me was how I built my entire career. Like, I think a lot of people have asked me like, oh, like, how have you gotten the opportunities that you've gotten? I really honestly rely and lean into love. Like I rely on love completely. I want to show up with my whole heart.
Because you're showing up as yourself.
Yeah.
You are exactly.
Thank you.
You are
Thanks,
you are the ingredient. Like that's the sauce. You're the sauce.
Thank you.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's easy for you to do that because you're not reaching for a thing. Now, granted, I want to frame this, and I want you to keep talking. I just want to make sure I frame this for folks that for a lot of Black and brown folks, it's very hard to show up with love in environments that are not conducive to that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
One. And also, right, because I love me a good and also. It's love, it's important. It's good, it's important.
Wait, Joe, my husband and I say also as well. So that's our thing. So also as well.
You get it. You know? It's and also we have a choice. We get to choose. And sometimes it takes a consortium, but like you also get to be the person to set the precedent. And so anytime I go into a room, I'm like, I'm choosing to set the tone.
Yeah.
So motherfuckers can be ice grilling or feeling like however they want to feel. Like I can do that too, but that doesn't really align with who I am. Yeah. I get to choose love because I am love. So I'm gonna show up in that. You know?
I mean, right. Well, okay, so also for the people that are listening, and not just the people in this room, because this conversation is going to
because it's global, because you
transcend,
global.
right?
You know
It's global.
Yeah. I'm just saying, you gotta, you know.
But for those people, like, I mean, for you move into love with ease. Like you are love too. Like I actively get to watch you and witness and bear witness to you just always walking as love everywhere that you go. And I think it's the most beautiful thing and one of the most admirable qualities about you.
Thank you, Deja.
But like, as you said that, like there are some people that are like, but how do you do that? Like, how do you set the tone for love everywhere that you go? So for those people that are asking that question, what would you say?
It's a really good question. And I had I remember somebody years ago on Twitter, I was talking about love and she was like, yeah, you talking about self-love, but where did you learn that from?
Mm-hmm. People want to know that.
And I think part of it though too is like we sometimes operate from the space like love yourself, but if no one has given you the framework for that, you know what I'm saying? And like we have to also look at the marginalization, right? Mm-hmm. If you are a trans woman, if you are a fat Black woman, if you are a disabled person, if you are a person who has been pushed to the margins by society, then, and you're not seeing yourself represented in the work of like living, right? Not talking about branded work, just like I'm not seeing myself on TV. I'm not seeing myself in the workplace. I'm not celebrated in these spaces that I'm supposed to be showing up in Monday through Friday, Saturday to Sunday, sun up and sun down. It's hard to do that. And I think a lot of the framework for me was just, I had to engage in spaces that were showing me that work. You know, and so like when we talk about the bell hooks of the world, you know what I'm saying? Like when even, you know, like we could talk about Nas, like, you know, I can be all I want to be. It's like the messages are there, you know, and sometimes it does take a village, and sometimes it takes a person in a village to see that thing in us and pour that into us. Because without that, then it's hard to discover that. And so for me, you know, my mama, you know, shout out to Linda T. Linda T played a big part in, you know, I wrote this, there's this really small piece I wrote about her, and it was essentially me saying like, you know, I never saw Jesus walk on water, but I saw my mom wait for the bus.
Yeah.
You know?
We can run that back. We can.
This is not verbatim, but I was like, you know, I've never seen Jesus walk on water, but I've seen my mama wait on the bus, you know. And my mom used to wait for the BX12 bus that was right across the street from us every night, right before she made my hot chocolate. I would walk her to the door. I would tell her I love you, have a good night, be safe, you know. And I would do that I was doing that from the ages of like 8 to like 16. Mm. And you know, like my mom gave me the framework. And so that then it was hard when you grow up in environments where like, nah, you know, part of my friends like, nah, nigga, you can't show up in that way. You're a man. Like, because we don't give Black men especially, the room to just be us. Yeah. You know, because we think us is like these tangible, like my man can fix a ladder or he can grill something, but your man wants to cry too, but you're not giving him room to.
Yeah. You know?
Yeah. Like, and so like we have to ask ourselves, how are we conditioned to believe in patriarchy as a means for liberation? Because it's not, but we've been conditioned to believe so because media gives it to us. You know what I'm saying? Society honestly gives it to us. And so the work for me was trying to unpack who I am. So I had to ask a lot of questions. I'm just curious by nature. I think part of that is I'm an artist.
Yeah.
But like if I'm curious about who I am, I'm also starting to get curious about the world and like what conditions have created this person and this self. Right? When we talk about Buddhism, we talk about self and this idea that we identify with a self that is not actually real. Self, this is like clothes. These clothes aren't even mine. Like literally,
I mean, they are now.
I mean, they are. You know what I'm saying? But like, you know,
Lululemon stand up.
You know what I mean? But like, you know, shout out to Ashley for the hookup. I'm just saying. But like, this is not who I am. This is like the vessel that's carrying me. And so I had to really do some deep digging about what do I want, what do I need, and what am I offering to the world, and what do I expect from the world in return?
Yeah.
And if I'm not putting out love energy, then like, not to say I'm not gonna get it back, but it's gonna be hard for the universe to meet me if I'm not meeting the universe halfway.
Yeah.
So I can't be, you know, when we talk about the armor, I can't be the person that's like, yo, I want love, but it's like, I don't trust nobody. It was like, you're not, you know, make 2 + 2 work for me.
Yeah. I'm making it make sense, you know?
It's just gonna hurt. And we think like we've created this fairy tale, like love doesn't hurt, love hurts. The people who love us hurt us. And I need us to stop dealing in these fake ideas of like, if I'm loved, this person's not gonna hurt me. People hurt us all the time, not intentionally. Like, again, when I think about Buddhism, we think about these pillars of wise speech. It's wise and unwise, intentional, unintentional, timely, untimely, kind, unkind, loving, unloved. Like these ideas of not right or wrong, good or bad, which are labels, but these notions of how can I show up in a way that is putting me in closer proximity to love. And that is being honest, and that is being true to who I am, which means that's gonna push some people away. You know, it's gonna push some people away.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean we love them less, but it means I love me more, you know?
Yeah.
So like, how do we work with that? And for me, it was all about asking myself questions. The people I love the most are the most curious people I know.
Yeah.
Because they're just asking questions like, why are things the way that they are? It doesn't mean, and I don't even need an answer. I just need to be able to ask the question. Because the question begets a response from the universe in ways that we can't even imagine. You know?
I love that so much.
Yeah.
Joe, honestly, I love that you also said that about curiosity, because as I became more curious in life, I soaked up an abundance of love all around me. You know what I mean? Like I was curious about going to new places, and then I was finding new loves in those new places, you know? And I was curious about meeting new people and starting new relationships, whether they be one coffee or they be just, you know, a quick Uber ride, or I'm actually getting into partnership with someone and it's new and it's exciting and we're gonna go on this new roller coaster ride together, and like, and honestly, like that brought back my childlike wonder too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I love that you talked about Linda. Shout out to Linda.
That's the homie.
Because I also have to talk about Donna when I think about love, you know? Shout out to Donna. But, you know, she was my first teacher of love, right?
Yeah.
As I was in her womb, she was already showing me what love was.
Yeah.
And as I came into this world, she was teaching me how to love. She was showing me the purest form of love. And to this day, she is one of the greatest lovers that I will ever have. I love saying that about my mom. You know, I love knowing that I got this piece of me, this piece that I get to carry with me all the time, that I learned and absorbed from her, you know? I think like that's such a beautiful way to think of love. But I really, really love that you said like about the people that you love the most are the most curious, you know?
Yeah.
I think that's true for me too.
Cause like there's a level of openness that's created when we're curious about the world.
Yeah.
We're just asking questions, man. Like, I like, and it's the thing that you mentioned childlike curiosity. I remember being in an acting class in high school, and we were preparing for like Shakespeare work, and Miss Pierce, our junior drama teacher, she was telling us to like embody these animals. We had to choose animals that best embodied our characters, and I remember her walking around the classroom and her being like, y'all, like, what are you doing? Like, when you were children, if I asked you to be a lion, you would be a lion. But right now you're so, and again, this is not verbatim, but like, you're so afraid of what everyone else is thinking that you're just not being yourself, you know? And it's like, yo, I'm awkward in pictures. Like, I'm just
and I love it so much. It makes for the best pictures.
I don't know what the fuck to do with my hands. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, it's just a lot of things going on at once. If I'm doing it by myself, I can do it. But like, I know my flaws. I know my shit. I know where I show.
They are not flaws. They are not. I embrace each and every one of them. Honestly, if they are imperfections, it's everything that I want. So please keep taking pictures with me. I mean, honestly, we're gonna have a photo album of just joy and love all over the page. So
I'm with that.
It's
yes.
great.
Yeah. But it goes back to your point of like the childlike curiosity. So when I look at my girls, when I look at my daughters, it's like, oh, like they don't care. Like, if Lila is going to be the thing that she's choosing to be in that day, she's fully embodying that. Yeah. And like, so much of like that gets to be, you know, it's somatic. Like, so much of the work that y'all are doing is about how is this feeling in my body? Mm-hmm. You know, and so even we get to be curious about that, because I think curiosity is love. Because if I'm not asking myself questions, if I'm not asking my friends questions or my partner about how we know, you know what I'm saying? How do you know? You don't, because we assume.
That's right.
We assume so much. We assume because I've known this person for 5 years, for 10 years, whatever. Things change. Tastes change. The things that I was into when I was 20, like the shoes I was wearing when I was 13 do not fit me anymore. So you can't ask me to wear them again. You know what I'm saying?
That part.
And so how am I showing up for that experience now? Mm-hmm. Now, you know? So like that, and that might change tomorrow, and that doesn't make me wishy-washy. It just means I'm standing in my truth. Yeah. And my truth is fluid. Yeah. And if it's not fluid, then I'm not growing. You know what I'm saying? And so like, but in order to do that, I have to ask questions. Yeah. You know? Yeah.
There's two things in there that I have to go into. But first, you talked about your babies.
Yeah, man. Those are the other homies. Those are the other homies.
You know, I love it so much. But when you talked about your babies, I was taken to this thought that I've had about both you and Pilin, two people that I admire so much. Shout out to Pilin. I love you. But I admire the love you give as a mother. I've gotten to watch you with Yair and Zuri, and it is just so beautiful, but it is teaching me the kind of mother that I want to be and the kind of love I want to give as a mother. And Joél, I sit up here with you too, and I think about how you speak about your daughters and how you love them and show love for them. And I think I can only hope that is the same kind of love that my dad feels for me. It's really beautiful to witness, but it's also very healing. And as I get to see a beautiful mother and a beautiful father take care of their cubs and just like give this unconditional love and protect them with their words and protect them, you know, from these other things out in the world and allow them to just be children. And that is just so beautiful to me. So I just also want to say, like, you've been an example for me in that. And it has helped to heal the relationship that I have with my dad, you know, and also like being able to know that like you both may not come from the same part of New York. You're from the Bronx, he's from Harlem, but I think I also get to see qualities in you that help me to give my dad a little more grace and a little more understanding. And that for me is so beautiful. It allows me to have a deeper love and a more unconditional love for him. And so just thank you for that.
That's what's up. Yeah. I love you, man.
You too. We're going to say it all night long. Yeah. It's going to be a whole track of just, I love you, because I do.
I do. You know, so, you know, like I have there's like, I put out a project called Songs for Charles in 2015. It was like my love letter to my father. You know, like my father and I were estranged at the time, and honestly, we were estranged until his death in 2021. And I think about what I had to realize was like my father was a person he was a black man before he was a father, you know, like there were a lot of, like my father went through sexual trauma and child abuse, very similar to my story. My father fought in the Vietnam War, you know, and so when I think about a black man who didn't have resources, didn't have the language, didn't have the tools, and then was told by the government to go fight a war that I know he didn't believe in, to have to come back home with no resources, no access, no language, no tools, there's energy that needs to get put out into the world. That energy sometimes wound up in our household, you know, and it doesn't, and love is also about accountability and forgiveness, right? And, you know, when I think about nuance and I think about context, you know, like I remember going to a panel and someone was talking about unhealthy love. And I thought that was so beautiful because so often we frame love as this thing that like, and just walk with me on this one if you can. And if it's uncomfortable, please let me know, like we can stop. But like, you know, my mother was physically abused and assaulted by my father multiple times, you know, and like my mom would try to fight back. My father was sometimes physically violent to us as well. Not often, but, you know, enough to be remembered. And so, you know, my father was also the same person who didn't have money, but would find flowers in the garden and pull them out of a neighbor's yard and give them to my mom. You understand what I'm saying? Like, and it doesn't excuse the harm, but what it does for me is, and my mom would tell me this story, not my father, my mom would tell me this story. And even when my mother was divorcing my father, for her worry was like, she wanted to keep the household together. She asked us if we wanted to go with our father. And we were like, what? No, our father's fucking crazy. How would we do that? But as I got older, what I realized was my mother was trying to teach us forgiveness. And not to say that, again, because I also want to frame this conversation by also recognizing that it is not a black woman's job to forgive the wrongs of a person, of a community, of whatever. But I think that's also a choice. And I also support people in the choices they make if that choice is also part of their healthy healing journey. And for my mom, that was part. It's like when my mom shows up in love, it's because my mom doesn't hold grievances, because my mom also recognizes the context of the environment that my father grew up in. Yeah. And so that means I can hold him accountable, and I can also hold space for forgiveness. Because like there's duality in that. And sometimes those things aren't congruent. And it doesn't mean we have to do it, but it means we have a choice. Yeah. And we get to ask questions about it. And so for me, showing up as a father for my daughters was like, I didn't want any of my daughters to have the demons that I have. You know what I'm saying? So like that required work, and the work of knowing that my father lived a really hard life, a life that was not kind to him at all, you know? And so my job for me is to like be the expression of the kindness that he never got the chance to have and give. You know, which is a lot of weight, but it's a weight that I recognize because I have the capacity for it. Yeah. Like I'm built for this, like for whatever reason. Yeah. Like that, this is my, you know, like that's my purpose. Yeah. My purpose is like now more than ever, my purpose is to live for my father, you know?
Joe, honestly, like, as you say that, like this is even a healing moment for me now, because I think about the level of forgiveness and the amount of grace that I am doing my best to extend to my dad. And, you know, our stories are different, but there are parallels. Yeah. My mom stayed with my dad for 20 years. And, you know, Papa was a Rolling Stone.
I'm about to say,
so, you know, I mean, I am the oldest of 10, and 4 are my moms, and you know the rest of the story. Yeah. But I mean, you know, as you sit here and you talk about, you know, the act of forgiveness and what it took, the strength that it took for your mom to continue to extend that forgiveness to your dad, and that's exactly what I watched my mom do. Yeah. And I think that is why I can sit up here and be this like beacon of light and representation of love today, because I watched my mom do that too. You know, and as I admire that in her, it was also this idea of like, well, I never want to go through that. Like I that is the opposite of what love looks like to me.
Absolutely.
And it's interesting because when you go out into the world and you start searching for everything but that, you oftentimes end up with exactly that. And so for the longest time, until I met my amazing husband over there, he's going to get all the shout outs tonight because he deserves them. But I was dating my father over and over and over again. And to this day, I am still in therapy processing that and really sitting with that and understanding why I had to learn the lessons that I learned and go through the things that I went through. And each time I gained a deeper understanding for what my mom was in and why she was in it. But also I begin to extend some of that same grace and level of forgiveness to my dad through those relationships. And then I was able to open up myself to receive the kind of love that I thought I deserved because I had gone and like done the work and gone through that journey of self-discovery of like, okay, like if this is what I'm telling, or if this is what I'm saying to myself that I don't want, what exactly am I saying to the universe that is attracting that to me? Time and time again. You know, I think it's so amazing how we are constantly teaching people how to love us just by being, right? Just by moving the way that we move, saying the things that we say, sharing in the way that we share. We are teaching people moment by moment how to love us.
Absolutely.
And as I begin to develop that deeper self-love, and as I begin to hold myself a little tighter and really appreciate and pour into myself the way that I should, I would say magically, but you know, a friend introduced us. It wasn't exactly magic, but I did attract exactly what I needed in that moment. I think like, that is like one of the beautiful parts of love is as we put it out, we receive more. We're never going to be depleted of that love, right? We're going to put it out. It's going to come right back to us. And it's going to be this like, this flow, this like cyclical pattern that just keeps going and going and going and feeding and feeding. And I love that. Like I just, that's my favorite part about love.
Yeah, love is a natural resource that I don't think we utilize often enough. Because like when I talk about love, I think about love a lot of the times in like the social justice, transformative, abolitionist space. Like I think the most loving, anytime I think of love, the first thing I think about is the free breakfast program. You know? Yeah. Because we think of love and like, I think the duality. Love is John Lewis getting smacked the fuck up at a sit-in at a lunch counter. You know what I'm saying? And love is also little Bobby Hutton, you know what I'm saying, carrying a firearm or being like, not today. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's love for community that creates that. Right? It's like love for something that is bigger than me. And so often our love is like me. And yes, cool. That's all ego. It's like we get to hold space for like, I want love, but my love gets to be bigger than the thing that exists in me. Like I'm just a vessel for the thing. Yeah. You know? So even when I hate like, and I also, in sidebar, we can park that to the side. What I also want for you, and especially in this journey that you're going through with your father, like, you know, you kind of said it, but like, I want to be able to remind you like that, like your mother's journey does not have to be your journey. You know, again, like that is a choice, you know, and like what I also want us to not do is disavow those who are making that choice. Or judge folks who are making the choice to stay in the thing, even though the thing isn't right. Because like right or wrong is subjective greatly. You know, there's a small window of like, this is right or this is wrong. Like, I think there are things that we almost all can agree on. At least folks in this room, at least, you know, like the GOP.
We can keep it here. Right here.
You know, but I think if the more we leave room for curiosity and space and neutrality and also the gray of life, because I think a majority of shit is gray. It's like, it could be this way or that way, depending on where you are in the context of the situation. But like, that doesn't have to be your journey. And like, I appreciate you knowing that and also being patient with yourself through this process because like, even with grief, because I think you're also, love is grief. There's like grief in that space of like having to grieve, right? Like having to grieve a thing that we thought was going to be, you know, like I wanted this relationship to be this way and it didn't and it ended. Okay. We get to grieve that. And we oftentimes we're not grieving it. We're trying to move past the grief part. Yeah. Right. And like grief is a part of the loving process. Yeah. And like you get to grieve the ending of what you and your father's relationship used to be while also honoring what it is now. Yeah. You know, like, and there's that chasm, like that dissonance, that space, I think is also where love exists too. You know what I'm saying? It's like you know, it's that in-between spot where we're still trying to figure things out like that. That is also all love, you know? Yeah,
I'm there right now too. It's like, as we talk about grief and we talk about parenthood, like the first thing that I think about is my journey to motherhood, you know? Yeah. And a lot of the reason why I'm trying to heal my relationship with my father is because I have this deep desire to be a mother. And that has been a journey beyond my control. Yeah. You know, as I very presently sit with the grief of that. For those that don't know in this room, like 2 years ago now, I had a miscarriage. Then following that, I did 3 failed IUIs, followed by a chemical pregnancy, and then had a hysteroscopy to remove polyps and jumped right into headfirst IVF. And like, even as I say it now, I'm like, whoa, like, it's a lot. It's a lot. It's Absolutely. It really is. Like, and it was chaos and it was uncomfortable, painful, like heart wrenching, gut wrenching, like, and for so many moments, like I was just sitting in mourning and then simultaneously putting on a smile to serve my community and like to show up for others still in that, because that's honestly what my source of love and joy was coming from. And so like, that was the way I was able to sustain too, you know, is like reaching for that community love and being held by my community and really truly leaning into that so that I could continue to just take one step at a time moving forward. But like, as I think about love and grief, we oftentimes don't put those 2 words next to each other, right? Yeah. But they can live in the same place. Like I am actively sitting with love and grief in this moment. Yeah. And, you know, I think on the outside looking in, like I project this image of joy and that I am, you know, and I project this image of love and I also am that. And I had this like moment last year where I was like, I also want to show that there are moments where I'm falling apart. I am crumbling to pieces. And that is my true and honest self in that moment. You know, it is, I do not want to present this image of perfection, which can oftentimes be misconstrued, that like everything is roses and daisies and orchids all the time. Yeah. It's not real life. Yeah. And as I sit with thinking of love and grief and allowing them to be partners and allowing them to live in the same space with each other, like that is where I can find a sense of calm. Like that is where I can sit with myself, be okay with myself, love on myself a little bit more because I'm being honest with myself.
What I'm hearing in that is harmony. You know, like one of my favorite, like when I think about, you know, in the Jewish community sitting Shiva, to me, such an act of love, you know, all black, we're covering mirrors because we're honoring the loss of this person. Like we're so cavalier about loss, I think, you know, because it happens so often. And I think what I was learning a lot during the pandemic, and you and I talked about this, it's like, so much of the pandemic was grief for us. Like you lost a job, you lost a partner, whether it was like you broke up or unfortunately you lost a partner due to like, you know, different circumstances. And so having to hold space for those things and doing so lovingly, like is a practice. Yeah. Like, cause like we're also talking about transitioning, right? Like even just what you're sharing, like your physical had to transition out of these different instances that were affecting your body, and having to try to hold space for that is arduous, not even considering the fact that you're a black woman doing this, right? And when we think about the intersections, we also have to, again, when I think about the curiosity and the context and the conditions we live in, having to hold space for all those different realities and how they intersect, I think also is a practice of love, and which is challenging. Like, when we're reading Bell Hooks is all about love, like I think we cherry pick things, but like she's also she's challenging us.
Yeah.
I think when we talk, like when we take pictures of the book, it's like on our bed, it's on a picnic. Like we're talking about.
I took mine on the beach. It was.
I'm saying.
All about love right here.
Like and share, please. And that is it. That is it. And also, Belle was challenging us to rise to the occasion. Because like so much of what we do is not rooted in love. It's not rooted in intention. It's rooted in ego. It's rooted in ownership. Right? And not even just in a partner, but like owning a moment. Oh, that's 5 minutes. That's a good side too. Thank you. What's your name, brother? Thank you, brother. Imani, shout out to Imani for letting us know, keeping us in check. But like so much of that is rooted in like the need of ego to be fed.
Yeah.
And like Bell Hooks is like rip all that up. Start from new.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, honestly, I feel like love is all about that, ripping things up and starting from anew, like over and over and over. That's what we're experiencing on a regular basis. We're like, all right, that doesn't work right now. For this season, that doesn't work. Let's rip it up. Let's start again.
Life and love is one big ass experiment. And if we're not treating it like that, we're missing out.
Yeah.
Like just try some shit because we're only here in this body once.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
So you telling me in this one experience that you get to have in this body that you're given, you're not going to do all the things that you want to do.
Yeah.
You're not going to ask all the questions. You're not going to fall in love relentlessly with life, with the people around you, with your dreams, your goals, all the time. Get the fuck out. I'm doing that shit all the time until I'm gone, dog.
Listen, me too. You and me both. Like,
Swimming.
I mean, that is swimming.
It's me
Just
swimming.
keep swimming, finding Nemo. Sorry,
It worked.
Joel, like, I don't want this to end.
I know, Sam.
We have to carry on the conversation beyond this, and so there will be a part 2.
Yay.
So this is my invitation. Can you come back?
Girl, please,
And then
yes.
be beyond Dose of
And
Duality.
we're going to have coffee
great.
in between that, but yes, absolutely.
Done and done. Okay, we're doing that.
Yeah.
But I just appreciate you so much. I love you so much.
Same.
And I thank you. I extend my deepest gratitude for you just sitting in this moment with me.
This is
for
great.
sharing with me, for loving me.
I see you.
And also just being you. Because I think that, I learned so much about love through you and life through you, but also because you are you, I can be more of me, and I want more of that in my life. So thank you for being that. Thank you for being you. Yeah.
Thank you, Deja. I love you.
I love you too. Though I don't want this night to end, and it won't end just yet. We're gonna have some more drinks. We're gonna mix and mingle. I'm gonna close it up. Thank you so much for being here. I have a few thank yous to say, and I'm gonna definitely resort to my cards for this one because I don't want to miss anybody. So here we go.
Are you saying all those cards?
Oh yeah. No. I'm not saying all these cards. These were my notes for the conversation, and then I just tossed them to the side. So I was like, I don't need any of these.
Notes.
I had you, and that was great. Okay, thank you so much to WTF Media Studios. I appreciate you so much. This podcast would not have been recorded without you, so thank you. Huge thank you to aunts and uncles. They are here by our lovely friends Lululemon. They've provided some nourishment for us in the back. So after this, you guys can all go enjoy some light bites and some drinks from Remy Martin. Thank you to you as well. Huge thank you to Prospect Studios. Dylan and Justin, this space is amazing. Thank you so much for opening up your doors and opening up your space to us. We appreciate you so much. There are some beautiful gifts in your gift bags. So a huge thank you to Athletic Greens. A huge thank you to Palace 111. And also to my amazing team at Lululemon. I have to say some special shout outs too. There's some Lululemon in there for you, and I'm very excited for you guys to check out one of my favorite items from Lululemon. But I also want to say a special thank you to Ashley Waters. First of all, can we all stand for Ashley Waters, please? Everyone stand. Ashley has been just a hero in my life and has been the glue to keep all of these amazing activations that are happening with Take Space together. And so, Ashley, you deserve a crown. We love you so much. To my amazing Lululemon manager, Natalie Weeks. Another standing O. We love you, Natalie.
My knees.
And I see so much more of my Lululemon team in the space. Thank you, Mel, Jeremy, Dana. So many Lululemon people in this building and such a community of love. I think one of the most beautiful things about the brand and a reason why I am a partner with the brand is because they put people before product. And it's a reason why I'm sitting up here today, because they care about me and they value me and they support me and they see me, and I'm so proud to be a part of the Lululemon family. So huge thank you to all of you. Some big grand thank yous to Amani and Haley, who filmed this tonight, who took incredible pictures and then just brought incredible energy. So thank you. I love you. To my amazing dream team, my Fab Five, I'm gonna call you out. Pepper, Victoria, Mercy, Chance, and also my co-producer, friend, amazing soul, founder of the Fit Collective, Liz. Stand up. Nope, you will stand. Liz gave me a huge push of courage to keep going when my last podcast fell apart, and she said, I will step in and do whatever you need me to do. And I was like, what? And so I am so appreciative that she is here by my side, and you might not be on the mic, but you are on the mic, and I appreciate you for that. And last but most certainly not the least, Pilin Anice and Joél Leon, another standing ovation. My incredible guests of the evening! And since you all are here, before we get the libations going and the music flowing, I am going to give you guys a little sneak peek into what's next. I am welcoming an incredible human that just led her own festival with the wonderful Eric Mosley. But this human also stepped up to the plate in the midst of things crumbling and falling to pieces and said, I will hold your hand and I will walk with you and I will be, the best support that I can be for you. And so I just have to extend a huge thank you and welcome to Dose of Duality to Alicia. After this one will be her and I, so listen up and listen out. I thank each and every one of you guys for being here. Please have fun. Please get to know each other. Please scan the QR code in the front. Now I'm stumbling over my words. This would be a fine time to do that. Scan the QR code in the front. Please subscribe on Apple, on Spotify, on YouTube. Again, this does not happen without all of you tuning in, listening, watching. So thank you for being here tonight, and go have some fun!
If you enjoyed this episode of Dose of Duality, the podcast, be sure to subscribe, like, comment, and share with others.